Twin City Talk. Today we are talking with Michelle and Ava Spell, who run Ava's Cupcakes. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We love that you came down here from New Jersey. I know New Jersey isn't as happy, but North Carolina is happy.
New Jersey may see us again, but yeah, this is our home now.
Yes.
Yeah, you have an interesting story about how you got here, too. I love that. So
Yeah, I was about to ask,
share that.
what brought you here from New Jersey?
Well, in 2018, we decided to leave New Jersey to basically to branch out for the business, but also for our family. We have a big family. I have 4 kids, and so living in New Jersey is pretty expensive. And while we made great money at Ava's, it only matters how much money you get to keep, right? And so we decided we're not really keeping much money here. Let's see what else, where else we can go. And so we decided to move to Florida. And we were in Florida for about 18 months, but we were only there for about 3 months until we realized Florida is too sunny, it's too flat. It just was not for us. We needed some of the mountains, we needed the seasons, and so we spent about a year at Disney, and then we decided to start traveling back up, and that's when we kind of landed in this area. It wasn't by chance, but all of those years of traveling from New Jersey to Florida for vacation, North Carolina was always our halfway point. And we had friends who lived in Winston, and so we would always stop here. And I guess 2011, 2012, we started really looking from a different perspective. It wasn't just a halfway point anymore. It was like, could we actually live in this area and have a business and be here? And so the seed was planted way back then. There wasn't really much happening on Haynes Mall Boulevard. I remember there being way less. Half the shops weren't even there. And so we would stay at a hotel there, and we liked the area. So after we made the move to Florida and realized it wasn't the right move at that time, it didn't take long for everyone to say, let's go to Winston.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's been great ever since then. I mean, I could do without a pandemic, but the whole
I think
world
we all
could.
could.
Yeah, you weren't escaping that no matter where you were.
No. So yeah, it's been good for us. We moved in 2018, and by 2019, we had both of our stores here open and running and doing well. So the community has been great. It's been a great welcome. No complaints. We love it here.
Now that you guys are here in Winston and you call it home, what do you love about Winston?
There's a lot to love about Winston. Do you want to go first? I know there's things you love that are different than me.
Some of my favorite things are the small-owned business shops here.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like home, because living in New Jersey and New York, New York was so big, like there was just everything there, and seeing all of the stores there, and then coming here, I love it. It's like we'll go into the city and we're just driving through and just seeing all this businesses, it just makes me feel like home.
And Winston has definitely bloomed on all its small businesses over the last few years.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was very interested in, since you would have been still old enough to be aware while being in New Jersey, and then as a young person, what Winston, how you felt about that. So that was good perspective. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Winston is, for us, we can compare it because we lived right outside of New York. So that is our comparison, right? And so New York is just overwhelming. And Winston is a city that, you're not overwhelmed by it. It's cozy. You can put your arms around it. You can get to know the city, not feel overwhelmed that you're going to get lost. But it's not this city that has nothing to offer. There's so much here. We've got this great, the baseball field, the
Dash.
the ballpark, the Dash. I mean, like that's a great thing to have in a city, and that doesn't cost your family, a small down payment to go to.
Yeah, it's good, cheap entertainment.
Yeah, and so there's just so much here. There's a lot of history, but there's also a lot of newness in the city. So I feel like on the historical timeline, we're here at such a great time because there's so much happening that's up and coming, but it's not taking away from the fact that there's history here. And, you get the best of both worlds, I think, in this city. So we really do love it here.
Yeah, I visited New York City for the first time last year. I had never been,
wow.
and loved it. Fell in love with it. But as the old saying goes, it's a wonderful place to visit, but I would not want to live there. And no, I would not want to live there.
Yeah.
I would like to go back often. My thing about New York, I love New York, but leaving New York was difficult. It took us 4 days to get home
Oh my.
because of a hurricane. But
Yeah.
and $2,500 later.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely an experience, and we do not take it for granted that we had the opportunity to live there all those years, and the kids had so much that they were exposed to it, because it did give them a lot of like that cultural, I guess, well-roundedness to see so much. And then it also gives them an appreciation for what they have here. Just a few minutes out of the city, and it's quiet, and we're, in a suburb. And so, yeah, I love it.
So, what do you love about running a bakery and you having a bakery named after you?
For me, I mean, it's just, I'm just a 16-year-old girl that has, like, this is my mom's bakery, so I'm just in it with her. There's
I doubt
definitely
that's
a lot.
exactly true.
Yeah,
You're a big part of it.
a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're Ava," but I don't see that about myself. I'm just like,
It's just what we do.
yeah.
Well, Ava's started when Ava was 2. So she has nothing to think about outside of that. Like, it wasn't something that we talked about. She doesn't remember those conversations. We named it Ava's because in those trial runs, in those first few months, she was by my side, and every cupcake was Ava's cupcake that came out of the oven. So, when it was time to name this business, it didn't take us long to figure it out. So she's always been in the bakery. And I think there is a part of her that, because of that and because of working in the bakery, we're hoping that we are kind of installing the opposite of the entitlement, right, to
Yeah.
it.
Hard work.
You've got to work hard for this. Doesn't matter if your name is on it, and it doesn't matter how successful, how big, how small. This is something that we've built, for our family, but Ava and all of my other boys, everyone has to work hard for their portion of it. So while there probably is something lurking in there, with the idea that this is in her name, I know she also works hard for it, which is all that we can ask for.
Right. Yep. So why cupcakes? I mean, I know the answer usually is why not cupcakes, but
Yeah.
but why cupcakes? What got you to do that?
So I have always had my training and my foot in the door with the food industry. And so when I was at home with 4 kids, plus we adopted, so we had 5 at home at the time, cupcakes were the trend.
Yeah.
If we could say that they were viral 15 years ago, that's what they
Yeah.
were. And so I just wanted to help in those economic times, coming out of 2009 to 2010. I just wanted to help to offset some of the costs and the demands that were on our family financially. So it was easy to do cupcakes, and then they're familiar, right? They were kind of easy to do, but they could be the perfect vehicle for flavors and flavor combinations, and just the things that I would dream up in my head. It was easy to get them into a cupcake and somehow translate those fun flavors, whether they're different, classic flavors like red velvet or carrot, to something a little bit more exotic like the banana guava, and just have fun with it. And no one is afraid of a cupcake. There's nothing worse than going to a restaurant or a bakery and you can't even pronounce the name of what it is. You're like, I'm definitely not ordering that. But everyone knows and loves cupcakes.
Yep.
So we went that route, and it's just been great for us.
Awesome.
Never met a cupcake we didn't like.
Do you have a favorite? That might be hard to choose, but do you have favorites?
My favorite is red velvet.
Oh, really?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I love red velvet anything.
Yeah, she's a classic red velvet girl.
And
Yeah.
isn't red velvet just chocolate cake with food coloring?
Essentially, maybe a little bit more to it, but it is cocoa powder. So
Okay.
it is one of those tricky ones where
Yeah, I'm not dumbing it down. I'm just saying.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, there's so many different flavors, but I think for me, I always go back to like a chocolate salted caramel. It's just a classic sweet and salty flavor.
Also
and
great.
Yeah.
It's good, yeah.
So, you said your footing was found in the restaurant stuff. What is your background?
Well, so to start, I come from a line of Italian cooks.
I could tell.
Could you tell? Yeah. So I think it's just in me, right, to be in the kitchen, and it's just comes very naturally. So growing up, I stood by my mom and my grandmother and watched them make everything from scratch. It's just what they did. Savory and sweet, we just did it all. And so when I was older and, trying to conquer the world at 16, I decided I wanted to work in the restaurant industry because I would learn so much. So my first job was in a bakery. And then I worked weekends in a pizzeria. And slowly, just through all those years of working, early morning hours and late Saturday nights, I then graduated to another restaurant that I worked for. And so I always stayed working. And I think that's been probably my greatest education, and all of my experience just comes from not being afraid to work hard.
Yeah.
So I left home early and went and worked for national chain restaurants and private caterers and some of really great chefs and people that have become friends, but also mentors through the years. And I just was always working with food in some form or fashion. And so, yeah, that was really a path that I didn't realize was leading up to where we are today, but I learned so much from every bit of it.
So those that know Ava's know you won Cupcake Wars, but those that don't know, so do you want to share a little bit about your experience on Cupcake Wars and winning that?
Yeah, that was fun. So that was back in 2012, so quite a long time ago, but very relevant today because people see that accolade and it validates that you have some skin in the game. You kind of know what you're doing back there. And so we were in business for about 6 months, and it was one of those quiet Friday nights, and I was running the business by myself, and I decided we should go on this. Well, actually, it wasn't my idea. People would come into the bakery and say, you should go on Cupcake Wars. I didn't even know what it was. So I had to do some research. I'm like, I can do this. So then that was one of those Friday nights where I decided I should just try to find a producer and see what, if this is possible for us. And I did just that. I did some of my digital, investigative work, and I found an email, and one thing led to the next. And so I had this phone call from the producers, and there were other New Jersey bakers and cupcake bakers that went on, and they did not do so well. So New Jersey apparently was like the laughing stock of Cupcake Wars. And I'm like, okay, you need a Jersey girl to go on there and win this thing and show you that this is not going to be our legacy. And one thing led to the next, and before you knew it, they were flying us out to California to film. And I called my brother and said, whatever you're doing, just quit your job. I need to come, I need to train you. I need a partner. And so we did. We just went out there and we did what we did best, and we won. I didn't go out there nervous or with some preconceived notion. I didn't look at the competition. I just put my head down and did what I knew to do, and that was it. And so we won, and we won by a lot. It was, the show, they make it out like it was so neck and neck, but we really did dominate when we were there. And that was the beginning of me realizing that in this like sector of the food industry, like cupcakes in particular, we really had something amazing happening because we were doing things that were not being translated into like the cupcake scene yet, with our fillings and just different techniques and just blending, different techniques, really, like filling cupcakes with these compotes that we were making from scratch, and no one was doing that. And so we took a risk, it paid off, and we kind of set sail into history after that.
And 2 of the cupcake flavors you made on that show are most popular now, aren't they?
Yeah, actually 3 never come off the shelf, the chocolate truffle and the apple pie and the banana guava. And I brought some today for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, so those three never go away. We can't.
I love how they're based on I Love Lucy because I love that show.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah, that was exciting. I grew up with I Love Lucy, so when it was revealed to us that I Love Lucy was
The theme.
the theme, I was like, we got this. This is going to be super easy for us. So yeah, it was great, and it really did give us this opportunity that may have taken us a really long time to get to, that kind of following, and we may not have ever have reached it. That was a really big audience instantly. So there was a lot to live up to after that, which was really great.
So is there anything you can share that's coming in 2025 for Ava's?
So yeah, we've got some stuff going on. So as a mom, and a busy mom, not to say that if you have one child you're not busy, but when I opened up Ava's, I had 5 kids at home, and the 3 of them were just literally in diapers. Well, started out that way, and as we grew, so we've got 3 that are a year apart, and then Isaiah, and then Jennifer. My hands were really tied. And for me to earn a living while keeping my wits about me with raising a family and maintaining a home and having a happy marriage, and today is 25 years, by the way, for me and Steve,
Yay.
which is exciting. I knew I needed to find something that I could do that would give me that balance. And so we've been in business for 15 years, and we have sold a lot of cupcakes, but we're moving into franchising now, which is me being able to sell cupcake shops to anyone, but specifically thinking of women like me that can't necessarily start that up on their own. We've done a lot of the hard work already, so why not let others benefit from that? We don't need to create 300 new flavors. This is a brand that we've built, and it is a family brand, and there are recipes that have come from our family, and there's a lot to be said for that, because we can put that in a box and have other moms sell it, and families. This could be a family business for whoever wants to be involved in it. And so that's not an overnight idea. That's taken me some time to get there. I had to think a lot about our future and not compromising what we do. And so we've walked this road for some time, but 2025 we'll open up our first store that will resemble the national stores, and it will be an opportunity for others to be a part of the successes that we've had, and be able to provide a living for your family, which I think has been a huge reward, but something that every family faces. How are we going to provide for our family without it, taking over our lives, but making sense to us and enjoying it along the way? So Ava's has done that. And for us to be able to sell that to others, I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I think it gives back to communities too. We think, we talk about shopping local, and that is shopping local, because, there'll be local families that can own and operate what we've done all these years, and they can have their children be a part of it. So we're really excited about that.
It's
Awesome.
exciting.
So, Ava, what are your culinary future plans, if any?
Right now, I'm not sure. I'm kind of just going with the flow with my mom. I'm usually with her every day, kind of following in her footsteps, just seeing what she's doing and kind of just learning from her.
Yeah.
So what are some of the more fun points you've learned along this journey?
I don't know. I mean, there's like so
Or things
much
that really
just,
stick with you?
I mean, just stuff about the business, honestly. Just small little things, I guess.
You're doing a lot of fun stuff with the TikTok.
Yeah,
right?
social media too is something that I've been doing for a little bit now, learning how to do that. So it's having fun with that.
Although you guys have pretty early mornings, that part might be
Yes.
hard.
That's one of my favorite things too, is we'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get breakfast, get coffee, and then just go to the shop and just work all day while nobody's there. It's very peaceful.
quiet
when nobody's
time,
there.
yeah.
It's just the two of us listening to music and just working.
What do you listen to?
What don't we listen to? Well, you can name some of your faves.
We go when it's like Christmas time because it's dark in the morning. It doesn't get light until the morning, later morning. So it's usually Christmas music.
Okay.
And then we have our favorites like Dermot Kennedy.
Yes.
Ava brings a lot of the new sounds onto the scene, and he's been our fave lately. But yeah, she has such a unique insight into all of it, from learning how to frost and, decorate cakes and cupcakes, which is a skill set all on its own that she has. She's got this talent, to seeing the business run. She'll sit in on business meetings and, contract meetings when we're trying to get pricing for flour and sugar and eggs. And she sees so much of it that I'm excited to see what avenue she'll really take in this. It's got to make sense to her and something that's going to feel natural to her. But I can't imagine being in her shoes. Because when I was 16, I wasn't, didn't have the opportunity to work with my mom in a family business that was named after me. So
Yeah.
I think it's a super unique thing. She doesn't have very many friends that she can call on and say, how does that feel?
There's just really a family business. Like each family member has their own role, right? Like even
yeah.
your sons do stuff with it.
Absolutely, yeah. My oldest is our lead baker, and he'll be training others shortly as we open up other stores. And Aiden is he's our buttercream and dough guy. He's written recipes. He's developing recipes. Watching him be a part of the menu and growing the menu has been such a reward, because I didn't teach him most of those things. He's learning it on his own, and there's just so much at your fingertips in the food industry. You can learn so much. So he does that part. Hunter does a lot of our supplies, and he will do deliveries. And Hunter doesn't sit too much in the kitchen with us. He kind of would rather be out in the world. So he takes on a lot of our deliveries and our pickups and things like that. He'll do our bank runs. And then, of course, Ava is there, and Steve is there. He plugs in wherever we need him. He is a jack of all trades, so he's always there.
Yeah, he's even built out some of the stores, right?
Yes.
Yes, I was going to ask, you mentioned you had all these kids. What do they have named after them?
Well, not much in the bakery, but there are some things that are, I guess, inside kind of like different. The Oreo cookie was for Isaiah. He had a bunny named Oreo, and that was like his favorite pet, and so he created that. So they all have something somewhere, but most people don't know that it comes, that's tied to them. But there's things all around that we know. It's like, oh, that was from Aiden, and this is something from Hunter. So yeah, everyone has a little something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people find Ava's?
So right now, our main location is in Clemens, right off of 421 on River Ridge Drive. We also have an online shop that ships to the nation at avascupcakes.com. And, soon to be, we'll be branching out and opening up a few more stores. So stay tuned. And obviously all of our social media, we're out there everywhere. So you can always find us. But yeah, avascupcakes.com will lead you right to where you need to be.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
And everybody go try Ava's Cupcakes. And like she said, there's a nationwide store, so you can have these cool things called cake cups shipped to you.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining. This is Twin City Talk. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. The views and opinions portrayed by guests on this podcast are not necessarily those of the distributors and hosting companies. And if you love this podcast, that's great, but don't think about stealing it. Reach out to us and talk about the content, because it is copyrighted.